Hi. How are you guys? How are you doing? It is Friday. We are feeling good. It's time for another Rave and Chat, Moms at Rave, with Monique Blake, who's just about to join me, I think. I think Instagram's just telling people that I'm online. Basically, I couldn't get the live to work for some reason. But now it is working. How's everyone doing? How's your Friday been so far? My week has been a little tiring, I'm not going to lie. Hey. So I'm just waiting for Mo to basically join me on the live and then we can get this rocking and rolling. I am DJ Nikki Beatnik from London and I also run Moms at Rave, which is this page right here. Hey, Book of Mom. For mums, we're breaking stereotypes. We are talking to moms across the arts. And as I've been in music for 25 years, I'm also a lot of mums in music, which is great. Because I think there needs to be more visibility of us, basically. Hey! How are you?
Good. It's early where I am.
Well, not where early. Is it? What time is it? 11?
It's 11, yeah. It's not too early.
Yeah.
Is my AC too loud? Is it taking up too much?
I forgot you guys have this air conditioning thing that we've heard of in London.
That's one thing. When I'm there in the summer, I'm like...
I know, but to be fair, we only get like 4 hot days a year.
I promise you, I was there 2 summers ago, and I was there for all 4 of those days, and we were like...
I know, get the AC. Yeah, we don't even have fans here. When it gets hot, people try to buy all the fans, and you can't even buy a fan, let alone air conditioning.
Wow.
It's funny. So how are you?
I'm good. But is my AC too loud, though? I can turn it off.
I think it's okay. It's coming in and out. So, yeah, it would probably be better if it's off, but I don't want you to be, like, uncomfortable.
No, I'm fine. How about that? Is that better?
Okay, yeah, that's much better. And I'm hoping the Wi-Fi is good as well, because... we had the last 2, I did Khalees last Friday, and she's on a farm in the middle of nowhere, so halfway through it just cut out.
No, I'm on the LTE, so I should be fine.
Oh, good. So how are you, my love? How are you doing?
Good. It's been busy. I'm sure busy for you as well, but I've been good. No complaints.
I mean, you're always busy, right?
It feels like that. Sometimes it's odd, but I'm not busy. I try and find things to do. So,
yeah, I think that's the nature of working for yourself, especially in music. Like you get nervous if you're not busy, right?
You almost wonder, it's like, wait a minute, do I have free time? No, I can't possibly have free time. And then you're checking to make sure you didn't miss anything and whatnot.
I know, right? So, I know you as Mo, but your name is, and also your Instagram handle, but your name is Monique Blake, right? Would you like to, every time a guest comes on, I just say, like, do a little intro on yourself.
Sure.
Like who you are, what you do. Obviously, you're a mum. That's why you're on Moms at Rave interview.
Yeah, so a little bit about me. My name is Monique. Most people call me Mo. Swizz calls me Wheezy. A mom of 1 who sometimes feels like 2 or 3. Been in music now a little over 20 years, not to age myself, but it's literally all that I've done since I've worked a couple of odd jobs here and there, but music has been it from day one. So started at the record labels, was at Elektra before it became, I think it's Atlantic now, was the name it changed to. And then from there went over to J Records before that became RCA. And then while I was at J, met Swizz, and the rest was history, 16 years later.
Wow. So that, I mean, I have really long working relationships with people traditionally, or I have really short ones where I'm like, peace out, I'm out of here.
Conversation offline. I know how that goes.
Yeah. But how did you guys meet?
So I was at J Records in their radio promotion department, and what I would do after like traditional work hours prior to me being at J, I used to do like club promo work. So I'd throw parties and I knew a lot of the DJs. So I would take our records that we were working at J Records and bring them to the clubs at night. And, you know, it's a pretty male dominated space. So it would be interestingly challenging sometimes to get records played. It kind of make you wait till the end of the night, all that fun stuff. And then there was one club night where I was out and getting a little difficult to get the record played, and Swizz came in. And I said to him, I said, listen, I have your records. Come with me to the DJ booth. Just want to get them played. They'll be happy to see you. And let's, you know, we'll have a good time. So he came with me to the DJ booth. We got the records played, literally turned the party up 10, 15 notches. So I said, listen, that really worked. This is my schedule for the next couple days. If you're in town, just pop up. We'll get the record played and we'll break this new music. All right, cool. And we did that for like a couple weeks. At the time we were working Cassidy, Mashonda, his artist that was signed to his label that was over at J Records. And then fast forward from there, like we just stayed cool. And at the time his assistant was leaving, and he said, you know, do you want to come work for me? And I had just gotten my job at J Records. So me changing positions was like, my mom wasn't for it, you know, because at that point I had my own, I was getting a regular check. So she was like, I don't want to support you anymore, respectfully. But I was like, Mom, you know, this is a great opportunity. So I literally took a piece of paper, wrote pros and cons for each job. When I was done, I looked at it and I was like, I'm going to go for it. And best decision I made in my whole life.
That's amazing. And because things are so unstable in music and generally, and especially when you work for yourself, have you always been that kind of person that just takes the bull by the horns?
In some areas of my life, I think I do it more at work than maybe not when I'm working. So it just depends on what the situation is, you know, like I'm very confident, but then there's, you know, we're human and we have moments where we kind of get shy or whatever it may be. So, you know, it's like maybe like 70-30 for me. It really just depends on what it is, who's involved, and then I'll decide how I want to.
Because I think nowadays people will underestimate how male dominated it was in clubs. Like I started DJing in '89 when I was like 3, obviously. But there was like a handful of us, a handful of women working in that sphere, working as DJs. I used to run and promote club nights as well. And it was like, we had one night which was an all-female team, and that was unheard of in the 90s, let alone now. Like it's just happening. People are just making noise about that now. But I think people underestimate how hard that must have been for you to be doing promo and trying to get people's attention and just thrown into clubs, because it's the Wild West in clubs, right?
Oh, definitely Wild Wild West. And I'll be honest, you know, my parents, I come from a Caribbean background, and my parents didn't really understand like clubs and all of that. You know, all of my entertaining and nightlife came from me just sneaking out and doing, you know, what I thought I should be doing. So, you know, wanting to be in the clubs 4 or 5 nights a week, not necessarily to party, but just to work, to network and whatnot. That didn't go over well. You know, my dad, he wasn't trying to hear that. He was like, no. He didn't even want to entertain music as a job. Like that didn't even make sense to him. But my mom, she's a G. So she knew how passionate I was about it. So she would stuff my bed with pillows to make it look like I was asleep. And she would come with me some nights and just she'd sit in a corner, and if I did 2 or 3 clubs to go see 2 or 3 different DJs, she'd just schlep it through the city with me and go to the different.
That's amazing. Because also, clubline can be quite dangerous for women as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you know,
even getting in and out of clubs sometimes, like getting to your car, like worrying where you are. Like I used to carry like 60 kilograms of records a night and worry about being jacked and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, in hindsight, looking back, some of the clubs that I'd go to get some records played, and some of the areas I'd go to, at the times of night I was going to them, I would never let my daughter do any of that. But I had a vision, you know, I had a goal, and I was going to get these records played. And it's funny, as I'm telling the story, I'm thinking about it, I didn't drive at the time either. So I was always reliant on like public public transportation or cabs to get me from place to place, you know, and even that's dangerous, you
Yeah,
know?
100%.
So, but
So
yeah,
I asked Khalees this question the other day because she was saying that she thinks that women that came up in our era are just way tougher.
I
Like
was there
we did so much hard graft and like fought for everything.
100%.
And she was just like, we're just a tougher species. But what did you think about, you know, when Me Too happened in movies and stuff? I really thought Me Too was maybe going to translate over to music, but it
Mm-hmm.
never really did. What did you have any feelings on that at all after being a woman in music for so long?
I mean, obviously, like, much respect to anyone who's ever experienced anything that was below level as it relates to interaction with any male. Um, for myself, I think the biggest challenge was just for me, I always would show up in a way where I would remove any of I mean, look, people are going to be attracted to who they're attracted to, but I would always try and show up in a way that would almost, and I hate to even say it, dumb down my sexy.
Mm-hmm,
Just
me too.
serious conversations without it having any undertone of there wanting to be anything more than what we're discussing.
Yeah.
Um, but, you know, the tricky part or the hard part with that is, you know, fast forward, we are feminine beings, you know, so when you train yourself not to be feminine for the sake of trying to get a job done, it's hard sometimes to turn that switch off to then want to be feminine to date or to just when you're not in work settings. So I think the challenge is just like juggling both of those mental spaces because it's hard. One, it's hard to show up and just do the job, period. But then to then have to show up and do the job, but then present it in a way so that you feel like you're not going to be, you know, disrespected or taken for granted or whatever it is, just because you're a woman. That's another challenge that people don't think about.
It's so challenging, and also because the music industry, especially female artists and female DJs, especially now, I feel you're almost expected to trade on your sexuality as well.
Crazy.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you're in nightclubs which are full of crazy people and
Mm-hmm.
drugs and drink and all the vices known to man, and you're still trying to get a job done. It must have been very challenging at times.
Absolutely. And, you know, discipline is real, you know, because sometimes you want to enjoy the setting. But then you got to think about where those variables will take you, right? So one too
Yeah.
many drinks, you're a female, you know, anyone who's paying attention to you will be able to notice when, you know, your demeanor switches because now there's the alcohol variable in the picture. So, you know, there's a lot to factor in when you're, as a woman, when you're out at night and in those settings that, unfortunately, at least I haven't heard, sometimes men don't have to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely, you know, the older I've got as well, and seeing that things haven't changed that much for women DJs in our sphere of work, and for women producers as well, because I've always produced, but we're like 2% out of all producers in the whole world, the whole music industry. So it's like things aren't really changing fast enough, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
um so I wanted to ask you on that note about moms in music and our visibility. Do you think there's enough visibility of us?
I do think the visibility is there. I always just find it interesting how much question or concern goes into wanting to mother and still try to work. You know, like I'll be honest, when I had my daughter, I went into labor on Sunday. I had her on Monday, and by choice, not by force. And that's again me just naturally thinking I just needed to always be on it, and doing more than I definitely should have been doing at the time. You know, I was looking for work to do like right after I had her, just because mentally it didn't click to me that I had just had a child. Like I knew I had a child, but I was still, you know, I had my daughter in my late 20s. So for almost 20 something plus years, or maybe 15 years, because I started working when I was 15, that's all I did was I just worked, you know? So in that moment, it took a second to click before it really made like, oh, I'm a mom now. Like I have another responsibility. Before then, I was only responsible for my job and myself.
Yeah. And did you have a good support circle around you? Is that how you managed?
Oh my gosh, my family, they are everything because I do travel a lot. So my family's everything, and Swizz is everything. You know, he's a dad. Alicia, she's a mom as well, and they both work hectic schedules, and they get it. You know, and I take a cue from them because like family is at the top of the list, right? It's not like work and then family. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
so like there's calls like 2-3 times a week. Okay, these are what this is the kid's schedule. How do we get work around the kid's schedule? You know, like they take their children to school every day. They pick their kids up every day.
Yeah.
You know, I pride myself in when I'm in New York, I make sure I take my daughter to school and I pick her up. And I enjoy that, you know, so where I can always, as much as I can do it, I make sure I do it because they grow fast. And now she's telling me she wants to go to school on her own. And
Oh
so that
no. It's
I'm not,
heartbreaking. You're like, oh no.
I was like, I was going to drive you to your first day of college. What do you mean?
How old is she now? I know, right? I'm the same. I'm like, let's do matching outfits forever.
Forever.
How old is she now?
She's 11 going on 21.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because if you put that in perspective to when we started going out to clubs and when I started DJing at like 15, it's only a few years off, right? So does that scare you?
Yes and no, right? Because I don't want to take away like living for her.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the times are a lot different. So, what's available to her information wise is way different than what was available to us at the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have real conversations. Speak to her, not like as an adult, but I have real talk with her because I remember being her age and again, my parents were great, but we just didn't have those conversations. And there was so much stuff that I learned trial and error and just from sources who not necessarily didn't want the best for me, but
had their own agenda.
Correct. It's different.
Yes.
You know, like sometimes we fight our parents because we feel like they're trying to stop us from having fun and whatnot, but they've lived it. And now as a mom, I can 100, you know, they'd be like, oh, you don't get it until you're a parent. And then you find yourself quoting quotes that your parents would say and things like that. But it wasn't until I became a mom that I understood that she wasn't trying to stop me from having fun. She just wanted to make sure that I was safe at all times and that what I was doing was in my best interest.
I think it's absolutely amazing that your mom used to come clubs with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's so good. My mom,
Mike, like, yeah, it was a thing.
It's so cool. My mom came to one gig I did in Paris and someone grabbed her butt and I was so angry. I was ready to fight I was trying to fight the person, trying to find them in the crowd. I was like, oh, how dare they? That's my mom. But yeah.
I mean, when she was coming with me, when we were doing the club runs, I'd try and have like some of the guys that I knew that did security, you know, kind of stay with us.
Yeah.
She's been to a few concerts, and I usually send her with security just to, you know, she's not as fast and mobile.
100%.
Thinking about what we know could potentially go wrong. So yeah, but she enjoys it. You know, it's definitely been an interesting shift to watch her really fall in love with what I do and the work that I'm producing. Because I remember in the beginning, she didn't get it. You know, she's sending me news links when Swizz does press, or if she sees things, you know, on television, she's recording it and sending it to me. So it's really nice.
That's so nice. So back in the day, what era are we talking about when you were doing club promo?
Ooh,
what kind of years was it?
We're talking late 90s, early 2000.
Okay, yeah. So I was running club nights in London then as well. I still do, and DJing like maybe 5 or 6 nights a week doing the same thing. What are the most epic parties that you can remember and the DJs from back then? Who was your favorite?
You know, it's so funny. I was talking to someone about this last night. I mean, everything from Lotus on Mondays to then there was Sess on Tuesdays, and what else was Tuesday? Lobby was Tuesday, and like there was a club every night. And I mean, now sometimes I get a little tired earlier in the evening, but we were doing 3-4 clubs a night, you know,
Yeah.
3-4 different boroughs. We were, you know, Tuesday you might have started at oh, what was Puff's restaurant? You might start at Justin's, and then, well,
Oh
this
yeah.
really date myself, right? So if you started at Justin's, then you'd go across the street to Cheetah's, right?
Oh,
And
I
then
love cheetahs.
I think once they shut down, we would then go, we'd either end up at Lobby or Sessa. And then depending on how adventurous you were, there was Sue's Rendezvous. So that was a moment on a Tuesday. And then you try to get to Nasty Tuesdays in Brooklyn, way, way, way on the other side. So we were really moving around, but there was so many spots and I mean DJs for days. Like it was a good time.
Yeah, and also I feel like it was more organic then, and
Mm-hmm.
less table service, more dancing, more fun. Like,
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, when we were pre-sparkle
yeah,
era,
oh, the sparklers. I freaking hate the sparklers.
pre-sparkle era. I'll usually say no sparkles, please, because it's a lot.
Yeah, no sparkles.
No,
Awful. Yeah, and sometimes in London it got to the stage where they'd ask you to play like the Star Wars theme or some shit
to
when
come
they're
out,
coming out. I'm
Vegas,
like, absolute hard no.
Vegas. One on the gram the other day where I guess there was like a casket they brought in, and then the girl was sitting in the casket with the bottle. I was like, this is intense. This is
Oh
really
my goodness. So odd, isn't it? When you come from the era that we come from, where you want to sweat it out and like actually have fun, all that stuff is just smoke and mirrors, I think.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So lockdown for you, everyone else, like I have been basically off DJing and no touring, all my touring cancelled for like the last year and change. But for you, it must have been a totally different ball game, because this is when you started working on Verses, right?
Well, just to go back a little bit, we had, and this is just to show you how just timing and God and how that all works. Swizz and Tim had done a back and forth battle, which would be labeled Versus now, at Summer Jam, maybe like 4 years ago. And we had actually, myself and Tim's manager, Gary Morella, we had actually packaged a tour for Swizz and Tim. I got to pull the deck up. I think it actually was called Versus then as well. But packaged a tour where they would go from city to city, going back and forth, bring out special guests, and then would move that on and replace new talent for them and whatnot. And literally was going to tour it and then sell it in as a show. And everybody said no.
Oh,
So,
wow.
hey, well, maybe it's not going to work. No stress. And we just kind of put a pin in it. Not a big deal. And then I never forget the night. We were...
Well, so you were saying like the clubs said no, or all the people involved said no?
No, like actual television networks. So we actually went out to the show, every network you can think of. We must have sat with 10 to 15 networks, and they were like, we just don't get it. Like, we're not quite sure how that's going to work. And we were like, okay.
The thing is, TV networks are so far behind and so slow, like such big machines, that they don't get it until it's already out and successful, right?
Oh, yeah.
You got to YouTube it now or something.
And then the calls come back around. Hey,
yeah,
love what you guys are doing. Let's pick back up the conversation. And then you're like, okay. But yeah, so I remember the night, and I'll be honest, I actually, because of the time difference, I missed the first one, Swizz and Tim. I woke up to all these calls like, yo, Swizz and Tim, they just did this thing on live, and spoke to Swizz the next morning, and he was just raving about how crazy it was and how long it went. And this was, I think, before IG even allowed you to be on for a certain amount of time. Like
yeah, they cut you all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
they still do that here, by the way.
Is it? Okay.
They still do that, yeah. And they do it to DJs and mute you, and like they have no respect for DJs apart from D Nice now. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. But yeah, they're still doing that. Facebook took down loads of videos recently, like DJ videos, and they haven't figured it out at all, really.
Right. So yeah, and then they did that, and it was great, and it was like, hey, let's try it with someone else. And there was a second pairing, and then it just, people loved it. And it was just like, all right, let's keep going, because there wasn't anything else happening at the time. Like, we literally were all sitting at home adjusting to, you know, what would be life until they told us we can go outside. And it literally, like, I've never seen anything like it. Like I've never seen anything just explode
Blow up.
the way
Yeah.
it did.
And
And when, Mhm.
how much organization and tech goes into each performance? Because that's what I think of when I see them.
So going back to the early days,
Yeah.
it was really a lot of, and shout out to Roland because they came in and saved us in terms of just audio and how it was sounding because everybody was home. There was no tech team. There was no, you know,
Yeah.
we were producing through Zooms. Like we were all on a Zoom going, it doesn't sound good. Tell them to turn this down. We hear feed. Tell them to check this wire.
Yeah.
So we were really reliant on one, whoever was competing or celebrating, excuse me, and then hoping that they could troubleshoot what we were hearing on our end coming through on the live. So that's how it started. And fast forward, I mean, now it's like a
An
production.
operation.
Oh
Yeah.
my, I walk into some of our shows or I'm on some of our calls and I'm looking through the decks and we're talking through approvals. And I'm like, wow, like this is a real thing.
Yeah. It's gone like this in the space of 12 months, right?
Literally.
And when you think that no one wanted to take that on, it just shows you with some things, you just got to believe in it and keep going, right?
I tell people all the time, I'm like, I remember when I set up the IG for us. We had 3 followers or 4 followers. It was me, Swizz, Tim, Gary, and our digital guy.
How many are there now?
Like 6 million, 5, 6 million.
No way.
Yeah, so it's like things take time. You just got to keep pouring in.
Yeah.
There's going to be bumps along the way, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Like people are going to have their opinions, and my constant reminder to everyone is just let people have their opinion. It doesn't affect any, like they're gonna feel how they feel. There's nothing you can change how they feel. Like
And
we
also
had mad when we had to reschedule Keisha and Ashanti, and it's like, but she's sick. You do understand she's ill, right?
Come on.
But,
and there's a pandemic of millions of people dying. Like, get over it.
Sorry, we can't, give you the show. But give her a second. It's fine. Give her a second. But that's just people. People want what they want when they want it, and
you could put out the most amazing content, the most amazing record that you love and most people love, and there'll always be someone that's gonna rain on your parade.
Always. Everyone always has an opinion for we didn't ask for this. Okay, so don't tune in.
Yeah, like switch off.
No big deal. I just never understood how people find time to leave a negative
comment. Yeah.
If you're not interested, keep scrolling.
Yeah, or don't follow in the first place.
Quickly.
Yeah.
But that's people. You can't get around that.
Out of all the verses that have been on, what has been your favorite? And then I'll tell you mine.
100% Beanie and Bounty.
Me too.
That's always going to be at the top. The gospel one was special. That was Fred Hammond and Kirk Franklin. That was really special. My mom watched that one, so that was even more nice because
that's lovely.
Definitely Patty and Gladys, right? Yeah. No.
You've done so many, it's hard.
Someone asked me the other day, and obviously you remember them like sporadically, and then you look at the list and you're like, wow, we've done a lot. We've done a lot, absolutely. I mean, many of them have been good. Erica and Jill was amazing. SWV and Escape was amazing.
Yes. And you know who I also loved? Meth and Red. That made my...
Forget about it.
Because those guys, the Black Hat album for me was one of the hands down the best hip hop albums of all time. So I just love those guys. And D'Angelo as well.
He was special. And it was for us to tease the solos, because I think it's allowing us the room to think creatively about how we approach some of the other talent who's interested in being involved. So, but that was really nice. And you don't get to see D'Angelo often. So to be able to see him and for him to just come out and give us such an amazing show was
you know what? It was so natural.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so it was like being him having D'Angelo in your front room, just like cool.
Literally.
There's no pretense. It was just about the music and him, and then the guests he brought on were just phenomenal as well.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone just did their thing, and it was just it was magic. I think absolute magic what's being created there.
That was really good. And even some of the early producer ones like Neo and Jonta, that was really good. And Dream, and like it's just been great. It's been really great. And to watch all the catalogs explode, all the records rechart, the
Right?
I think that's the stuff that you can't pay for that, you know, like that's the priceless stuff there that you get from the Versus effect.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. And since you've been doing all this, you're also managing other people and acts and doing Swiss's business. So, like, how do you actually juggle that? Do you sleep?
Sometimes, so it's in and out, you know, like I work with some really great people, have some folks in both the UK and here in the States that support me in the projects that I do, and we figure it out, you know. And what doesn't fit just falls off. Like I've definitely been in situations where I'm fighting to hold on to something, but clearly God's like, this isn't it. And when I just stop, because I'm always constantly going, and just allow things to fall off that aren't meant for where I'm headed, they do, and I just have to like let them be and keep going.
And I was going to ask you about advice you might have to other mums that want to be in music, or mums in business in general, as to how to juggle and how to get organized, basically, because there is so much pressure. And sometimes I have because I'm also solo parenting, my husband's away filming for like 6 days a week. And I've found it quite a struggle doing every single school run, all my emails, trying to write tracks and produce and still do DJ lives and stay relevant and do social media, all of that. How do you juggle that? What advice would you give?
Definitely don't be hard on yourself. There's going to be days you don't get it done. I write things down as much as I can. And if I get to the end of the day and I haven't checked everything off the list, I try not to just beat myself up. The other side of that coin is, you know, I'll be honest, like traveling, sometimes the way we travel, I get mom guilt, you know, because my mom didn't travel. Like she worked her 9 to 5 and was home at 6. And I was used to her every single night, you know? So sometimes I wonder, like if I'm away for 2-3 weeks, what does she think? So I'll always encourage anyone to go after what their heart desires, because regret is such a tough thing to live with, for not going after what you want. And it's not always easy, obviously. If you don't have the support, it's going to be difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
But where you can find it, and in community and people that you trust, see who you can lean on a little bit. Like I have friends who damn near beg me to help with Meg, just because they know like I might just need a break some days, or just need 2 hours of just no interruption, sometimes just to take a nap, you know. And I struggle sometimes with allowing people to help me, because I'm just so used to doing everything myself. And once I got to a place where I was just like, you know, help is okay, it allowed me to like just let go of needing to control everything and do everything myself, and have people come in and give me support.
And I know we started really young in music, which is kind of a running theme, I think. Also, women in music being extremely tough is also a running theme of everyone that I've interviewed. Other DJs and producers and other women in artists. They're all like very tough, and also they seem to be very good at changing with the wind, you know, like reinventing themselves. Yeah. Have you found that as well?
In terms of needing to just like pivot and
Yes.
So I'll be honest, I am a very much a behind the scenes type of girl. I think Versus and the work that we've done in Versus has kind of like catapulted me, because everyone's like, who are you guys? Like, what, you know?
Yeah.
So it's forced me to do things like this, right? Like if I wouldn't normally be up front, be like, oh no, not today, or thank you. But one thing that's really touched my heart in all of these that I've been doing is the amount of people, women in particular, who message me after or reach out to me and just say, you know, hey, I love your story, like it's so inspiring, and thank you. you know, and I never really looked at it like that, right? Like I just more so was a keep my head down and do the work type of person. But now in hindsight, like when I think about like just mentors and people that I looked up to, it was very far and few in between because, you know, everybody was just focused and doing their own thing. Not to say that they had a responsibility to be that for me, but I just didn't have any like true go-to people. So a
Yeah,
lot
me neither.
of my navigating in the music space just came from, you know, hopefully it works.
Instinct.
They get me, hopefully, you know, and where it goes from there. So I when I get asked to do talks or to do interviews and whatnot, I always remind myself that there may be one young woman or one person that reads this and may have wanted to give up and on going after what they want and just feel like, you know what, I'm going to give it another go. Um,
I
and
also think there's a lot of stereotypes around mums, which is something that I'm trying to break with this whole platform.
mhm,
Once you become a mum, you're expected to almost fit into a certain box, and if you don't, it's very confusing for people. And that's one thing I'm really passionate about, is showing women like us who are out there working for whatever reason, whether you have to, whether you want to, whether you're a career woman before, that things don't necessarily have to, you don't have to give up on those dreams because you're a mum.
right, 100%, definitely not. You know, like I was bringing Meg to meetings. You know, first couple months, it was the car seat in the meeting, and if she made a noise, the bottle was ready. I put it, you know, and see her like, you can do it. There isn't anything you can't do, and you know, obviously not all jobs are allowing you to bring your child in. So I understand that's the case, but you'd be surprised, you know, like sometimes it's just a conversation with whoever your superior is and being transparent about, you know, what's going on and what you need and um, hopefully getting their support.
Do you ever think it's too late for someone to get into the music industry, or for mums that might have had a job and not feel like they're doing their calling now? Do you think it's too late for them to change lanes?
Never, never. If an opportunity presents itself, go for it. Because that's going to be your story, which will inspire someone else who might be in that age range and who's trying to figure out their next step. I'll be honest, I have a 10-year plan right now that in the next 4 to 5 years, I hope to pivot, change industries, and do a whole different thing based on having exposure to different industries and saying, oh, I like that. I want to get more into that and see how that works. So it's not an age thing. As long as my legs work and my hands work and
Yeah, yeah.
able to articulate myself, we're going to keep trying things until, you know, God says it's time.
Also, I think with the amount of tech we have at our fingertips now, even on your phone, the amazing things that you can do and design and at the apps out there, I think there's never been a better time to be entrepreneurial in
Absolutely.
some respects, because you can try something new like Versus, but on a smaller scale. If you had an idea or you wanted to start an Instagram, you can totally do that as a mom, right?
Totally. I mean, I like video gaming, but I like the tech part of gaming. So I like actually programming. I went to school for computer science. Um,
Wow.
so I like to code. So one of my goals in as part of my 10-year plan is literally to potentially go back and do an online degree in Bachelor of Science to get a degree in game coding. Because I'm like, why can't I do a version of Call of Duty in the next couple years, right?
That would be amazing. I
Why
would
not?
I will definitely give you some music for
Yeah.
that.
Oh, see, and I use my relationships to score it exactly.
um, what is your signature style, Mo? Like, as
Ooh.
in fashion? Because we always talk about fashion and music a bit on here as well, because it's Mums at Rave, and obviously we have actual events which you've come to,
Mm-hmm.
and you were a guest on our panel there.
And I'll say it's so funny. I was talking to my friend Amy, who lives in London, and that's the one night that she always talks about because we left her partner and the guys, they were in the studio, and I was like, hey, I got to do this event. You want to come? Let's have a little girls' night out. And to this day, she talks about how much fun she had at that event unexpectedly because she didn't know what to expect, but had the best time. So
It
if you
is
have
fun.
the rave event, find time because they're so much fun. Such a
Yeah,
great.
Mums at Rave is a big look, and it's all mums, all women, apart from our MC.
Mm-hmm.
who gets like an honorable guest list. And it's just out and out raving and fun, right?
Literally.
It's hilarious. I laugh so much, and I feel like I want to cry sometimes just out of joy because I see the joy that everyone else is having. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously when I throw parties, I want them all to be fun. That's why I do it. But
Mm-hmm.
there's something special about Moms at Rave. There's
No.
definitely something special. So
Who
we
were
always ask our
not
guests.
who were the women that did the dancing?
Oh,
Just
the
like,
Scummy Mummies.
oh my goodness, they were amazing.
They're
So
comedians, and they're going to be my guests on here in a few weeks.
they were so good. I had no
They're
idea.
so funny.
And so I've been following them since then, but they're absolutely
They
amazing.
have got, I believe it's the most successful parenting podcast in the UK, if not bigger. They're like serious business.
I love.
And one of them lives on the next road to me. We're friends, like we hang out and stuff. And they're just hilarious. And also Ellie is a gamer. She's really big
Really?
in gaming. Yeah, and she
Oh,
presents gaming shows and does Twitch gaming. I don't know about gaming, but she's big in all of that stuff. Yeah,
okay.
that's her background. But they're
Good.
very funny. So yeah, so I wanted to ask you about your style. Like, what's your signature style?
I'm pretty simple and laid back. Like I'm trying to get better with colors. Everyone's like, you can't wear black all the time. But like I'm usually in a pair of good sneakers. I'm a very comfortable, flat-footed young lady, and I love my sneakers. I'll usually do like a really cool tee. Like I got my DMX tee on today. And then anything from jeans, maybe a cute pair of leggings, or definitely I'll usually have my red lip. That's usually signature. That'll change it in
Yes,
the book. Um, and then yeah. So yeah, usually
I
cool,
think
good
never
sneakers.
underestimate a red lip and how good it can make you feel. Right?
Red lip is a game changer.
It really is. If you've got your shade as well and they change it, it's like absolutely
Oh
devastating.
my God. Complete devastation.
So next question. You seem like a very like positive, happy person. How do you stay that way?
Intentionally, because if I allow all of the things that come to me to affect me, um, my mind will be all over the place. So I have to intentionally be intentional about what I listen to, what I read, what I see, and then not let things stick to me, right? So I don't take anything personal. No, I take some things personal, but those are very isolated situations. But yeah, I just try not to take anything personal, and for where I can replace negativity with positivity, I try to. I'm very big on perspective. Like there's no right, there's no one way. Like we could both have a different opinion on something or perspective on something, and not making either one of our perspectives wrong, and being able
Yeah.
to understand that we can agree to disagree. It's fine. So that's
I
kind of
think I think sometimes and this is maybe a little stereotypical, but from what I've seen of working in very male dominated spaces and then also with women, men have really got that down to a T where they might not even like each other, they're not friends, but they'll still not take that person and make money together.
grow all day. Trust me.
Right?
Women, once we've been rubbed the wrong way, oh, I like her, I'm good, right? And
Yeah.
like sometimes, like that's the first thought, like, oh, I'm not even dealing with that because I don't care for her. But then it's like, she's not coming home with me for dinner after this. Like, let's just get this done. And then there's some people that I can 100% that I would never invite to my home. But if we need to get something done, we can get it done. And when it's done, I can go my way and they'll go their way. And that
Yeah.
processing it that way allows me the room to separate like work or just like people related to work and like my family and the things that I do regularly that I'm around on a day basis.
And do you think you've learned that from being in music? Like, because I mean,
100%.
there's a lot of rowdy people in music as well, a lot of opinionated people. Were you kind of ever taken aback by the way that people spoke?
Not just the way people speak, but you know, I think one of the main things that I've learned in working in the business is things aren't always what they seem, right? A lot of smoke and mirrors. Optics has been where lately, like a lot of people are doing a lot of things for the optics, right? You know, I talk to you because, oh, this person follows this person, or, you know, it's very much a lot of the moves that people are making are very much rooted in what is this going to look like for me after the fact? How is this going to show up or present itself in places? And you know, it's I've had some very interesting interactions with people in the business, people that I'd be, you know, in one breath that I'm, you know, thinking that we're cool, and then you just like, wait a minute, what's happening here, right? But then I had to learn that, again, some people are doing things for one reason, and having to separate, in my mind, like, this is work mode, like, leave that at work, and when you're off work, like, you have a group of people that love you and know you, and you don't even have to mix up what the intentions are with this group,
Yeah, it's a tough lesson to learn at times. I feel like it's definitely I feel like also American people are much more direct than Brits.
Listen, I'm learning that.
Because I've toured with a lot of American artists, and
I'm learning how to navigate the dynamic of,
yes,
I'm just kind of like, well, just tell me that or ask me that.
yeah, no one tells you directly straight in England. Anyways, I'm Scottish. We are very direct and a lot more raw.
Yeah.
But my American friends are also always like, I'll have said, like, he didn't mean that, you know. And they're like, what do you mean? He said that. And I was like, no, but what he actually meant was this. And they're like, well, why didn't he say that then?
That's always my question. Well, why didn't you just say that? Or why didn't you?
Yeah, Americans are way more straight down the line. And in New York especially, like, much more raw.
Yeah. You know, at least I'll speak for myself and say, like, I grew up in Brooklyn, right? So, and that's like, it's a juggle because I am very much, I'm shy, right? But then I'm also like, well, what are we doing? You know, like, I'm also that as well. So it's a very interesting trifecta of personality, because then I'm also Canadian. I was born in Canada. So I come from, my mom is very much like, okay, well, no problem, honey.
Canadians are so nice.
So it's like this like thing where, and then I'm Caribbean, right? So I could give you sass and give you real polite, and then I'll give you Brooklyn if it's not feeling like how I want it to feel, and be like, wait a minute, what are we doing? And I think that sometimes could be a lot for people trying to like, but wait, she was just really nice, and now she's directed what's up. So, you know, it's I'm learning, and you know, we'll bump our toe a couple times.
The thing is, what I've realized is I'm considered very direct for this country. Sometimes in America, Khalees will be, she doesn't mean that, she means this. Like, Nick, just say it. But I'm like, well, if I say it like that at home, people will fall out with me because I'm considered too direct. In America, I'm not considered direct at all, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so funny. I had a conversation one time. We did, I think, like a little clubhouse, and we were really talking about just how differently, even just the approach between like American men, and I won't even just limit it to British, but just men who don't live in America, how even that's different, right?
Yeah.
And just certain things that would be like, oh, did you ask me that? Versus, you know, asking an American man. And we were like, wait, you wouldn't ask about finances early on? And, you know, my friend who lives in London, he was like, no, that's such a weird question.
Ever.
Right.
Not ever.
Wait, so what if there's an issue and they're not good with money? And he's just like, well, you just find that out. Like, you find
you find out when you're married.
And I'm like, what? So, but that's real, you know. And when he said it like that and broke it down, I was just like, no, there's just certain things you just don't ask, or there's just certain things you just don't discuss. And we were like, and I said, but you do understand it's not a rude thing in someone asking. It's just more so for the information, right? Because what I don't ask without that information, I don't know. And then I'm like operating from a lack of information, and I could potentially place myself or us as a unit in a situation that potentially could have been avoided had we just had the conversation. So it's like, are we avoiding the conversation?
British people have yet to learn this. And we are the champions of avoiding everything. Everything's passive aggressive. Nothing is like, never admit we've done anything wrong, like historically, whatever. Like Brits just like to avoid it all. Which is, you know, I prefer the American way where it's just in your face, but
I mean, I like a little bit of both. I don't mind like a little reserve, but if I'm scratching my head all the time with you, then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What's happening here? What are we
you
doing?
must have found that in a fair few meetings in the UK, though, especially in music.
I mean, there were definitely a couple of round tables where I was like, but what are we doing, guys? Because we're here and we've been here for about 40 minutes. Everyone is politely trying not to be the person to say what we know needs to be said.
Yeah.
Just say it so we can figure out a plan for what could be the bad outcome. So we're prepared.
I'm always the one that says the thing that no one else wants to say. And I'm like, I don't even know any other way, but it does get you in a lot of trouble here.
I'm learning. That's all I'll keep saying.
What advice would you give to a mum that's lost her mojo?
Oof. Let me switch hats because there's days where I'm definitely like, what's happening? I would give the advice of, so what I've been doing a lot lately is writing things down. Right? So if there's something that really moves me, I jot it down. And if there are moments where I'm starting to feel like I'm like being pulled away from or drawing away from where I want to go, I'll revisit what I've written just to give me like okay, this is why we're doing it. You know, like I sat down at my desk today and I had to just, you know, give myself some love because I was like, good for you. This is day 4 and you've been consistent with getting up, and because we're working from home, you know, I'm juggling 4 or 5 battles, and then I'm on conference calls all day and all kinds of stuff. And you just sometimes, you don't even notice that you're functioning from a place of like, not like you're just burnt out, you know?
Yeah.
So I try and just remind myself some of the things that I want to do. I constantly check my goal list to make sure that I'm keeping up with things. And I'll be honest, like there's goals that I've written on my year-to-year resolution list, and, you know, numerous times, and life will do that. Like you'll just get busy, or, you know, you'll fall off. And I just try not to beat myself up about the things that I don't get to do when I've planned to do them in a certain time frame, and just remind myself to keep going.
So you say to other moms, just don't beat yourself up too much.
Beat yourself up, you know, and just keep going. Like you can start over 10 times. The goal is to finish, right? So if you keep starting over, that's a good thing. Like you haven't, it's when you stop starting over.
And I always think even slow progress is progress towards where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
right?
the goals, and I read in a book one time, if you write the big goals down, write the small steps / goals that can get you to the big goal. Because if you can watch yourself accomplish the small things that's going to get you to the big thing, that in itself is motivation, right?
100%.
So if I write down, I want to buy another home this year, but then maybe, and this is me, right? If I don't keep track of the steps that's going to get me to get to the home, I can look at buy another home as just like this thing that just seems
a mountainous thing.
Yeah, so buy another home. Like, girl, you barely keeping up with, you know, getting the car detailed. But if I look at it from, okay, this is the area, or pick an area, right? We're going to pick an area by this time. And then in that area, this is a price range. So we know we need to set aside, you know, 20% of what the price range in this area is. Okay, cool. We've gotten that done. We have the 20% set aside, and just doing it slowly in that way, the bigger goal.
So breaking things down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what would be your absolute favorite raving tunes if you're going out on a night out? Is there some dance hall in there?
100%.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of mix of everything from Sham, Ding Dong, like it's always a reggae mix somewhere, and it's blasting. Sometimes I've been really big on podcasts because sometimes I just need like a jolt. That's another thing, a bit of advice I'll give to moms or just women in general. Find some good podcasts. Like Joel Osteen has really been you know, giving me some good like jolts. And they're short, they're like 20, 25 minutes and really to the point in terms of just that positive message that you need sometimes just constantly running or repeating to yourself, like the good stuff.
I've
Yeah.
been on a few podcasts recently. One, I think it was last year or something, about entrepreneurs and women in business, only women in business, which was really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was doing really well on like the charts and stuff. I don't really know that much about podcasts, but I think you can probably learn and get some really good information from interesting people by listening to podcasts.
Definitely. Perspectives. That's been a big area of exploration for me, is just perspectives, right? Because I don't know everything. Everyone that I'm around doesn't know everything. So as many places that I can get perspectives from, I appreciate
Yeah.
it because it lets me interact with people from a much more receptive place because everyone's experiences are different, right? Like I have my years of what I've been exposed to. Your years might not have that same exposure. So I can never get you to think the way I think or understand why I think. Right. So I'm a question girl, but that me being a question girl came from many years of not asking questions and getting caught in matrices because I just wasn't asking questions. So for me, it's like, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just
Yeah.
asking questions so I can understand why you think the way you think, why you do what you do, where you're coming from.
Well,
So
also, I think if you're a shy person, which I also was very shy as a child, and I've learned to be much more outspoken and confident through so many experiences, traveling the world, being the only woman in a lot of spaces a lot of times. If you don't ask the question, a lot of times you're going to lose out.
100%. 100%.
So you kind of learn to do that, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes like I'll be on calls or I'll be in meetings and I'll ask a question that might in my head be like, oh, this is silly. And then I'll get off the call and somebody will go, thanks for asking that question.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I want to say, I'm like, well, why didn't you ask? I'm like, oh, well, I didn't want anyone to look at me crazy. I said, did you look at me crazy when I asked? They were like, no. I said, so stop doing that. Because
Yeah,
that
if I don't understand something, I have no shame in just
quick.
saying, I don't get this.
Yep.
Please explain this, because I might be dumb, but I don't get it at all. So you're going to have to break it down.
It's not making sense to me. You want me to invest $250,000? Make it make sense to me, because it's not making sense to me right now. And it might take 2-3 times, but you know, I just want to understand. Help me understand why you understand it and want me to buy into it.
Yeah, I think that can never be underestimated. And also, I feel like women sometimes have a problem speaking up because I don't know whether it's socially, we've been taught not to make too much noise, not to be the most outspoken person because you might be perceived as Larry or a bitch or whatever. But I feel like women should always feel like their voice is enough and they can just ask anything or say what they feel in business meetings, at work, in certain situations.
Absolutely.
I think it's so important.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say definitely. It's for every question that you ask, it's almost like that, like it's like you're chipping away at whoever, you know, the I guess the shy or the nervous part of you. It gets easier every time. You know, it makes conversations easier. It just really allows you to open up in those settings. If you just stay silent the whole time, like you'll never get over that. You'll never get past the fear that it's because it's really fear. You know,
Yeah.
it's really just the fear that's usually self-imposed because of what we're thinking other people are thinking about us. And 9 times out of 10, they're not even thinking it.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I feel like music people and especially DJs, we're just caught in our heads a lot. Musicians and DJs are practicing on their own for a long time. We're used to being very solitary people. Sometimes I think they can also be quite socially awkward when they have to come to do business meetings and like negotiate and things like that. That's why they often have managers that are the louder character, you know.
No,
but it's definitely something that you have to work on if you are of the more shyer nature. I think it's something that you have to work on if you want to work in this business anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it took me some time, you know, it took me time to get comfortable. It took me time to get comfortable in just hearing my voice out loud, right? Some people aren't even aware that a lot of their, you know, fear just comes in just not being familiar with their own voice, you know? So I had to get used to hearing myself. I don't do voice notes because I'm still
Oh, I
getting,
don't
your
either.
voice notes drive me nuts.
Awful.
They drive me crazy.
Me too.
Uh,
Just text me, mate. Just
yeah,
text me.
text me or call me if you need to,
Yeah,
you know, but it took me a while just to get used to my voice. It took me a while to trust my thoughts. It took me a while. Like, it's a process, you know, and
it
depending
is.
what were your or depending on who was pouring into you during those developmental years of your life when you were developing the parts of you that you would then need to you know, showcase to the world, that will determine, you know, how you show up, you know, like
Yeah,
the person that I am now, and I still feel like I have a lot of work to do in terms of just being an even better um, uh, person or communicator. Um, that came from not from um, my parents because, again, love them to bits, but there was a lot of stifling that was placed on me as a young child because then as being a woman, right? It's like, don't talk too loud, don't do too,
yeah,
don't be, listen, oop, that's not what girls do. Make sure and then you're taking all of that in, but then you know you have things that you want to say and you want to share. Like even my daughter, like she's a very confident little girl. I was not her at her age. Like there's things that she's confident in doing that I'm just like, wow, like I was so not that person. So I try and really support her, and because I don't want her to ever lose her voice. I just want to help her shape and articulate what she's trying to say and make sure the tone is right, you know?
yeah. Well, it must be lovely to see your little girl that is so confident because we almost want, because I was also shy when I was a kid, I almost want my kid to be the opposite of that and just have that self-confidence. And but I
Yeah.
do see he's got similar traits to me sometimes, and I'm like, you know, I'm trying to put him in different classes like karate and drama and all these things to expand his mind and his personality and make him feel very confident.
Yeah.
Um,
Mine gave me some advice the other day because I was dealing with a little bit of resistance from my little one as it related to school. Because I didn't send her back this school year, just being really, you know, nervous about all of this that was going on. And you know, we kind of hit a little bit of a wall with her because you know she's going to school at home. You know, she's not around her friends, not really around children her age. 8 hours a day in this classroom type room that we built for her, and she just wasn't doing the work. Like I'm getting emails from the teachers, and she just wasn't doing the work. And I'm like, well, what's wrong? Like you could do a Rubik's cube in under a minute, and you telling me that you're just not applying yourself? I don't understand. I said, help me understand why you've taken the position that you've taken with school, right? And you know, she shared where she was, like how she was feeling and what she was thinking about, just all of it. And my friend said to me, and she's just like, you know, what does she like to do? I was like, she's an arts baby. There's some days she made me a flower crown yesterday. She made me a picture frame yesterday. Like every day, I get maybe 3 to 4 gifts. Every couple hours, there's gifts coming in. Um, so she was just like, you find what she likes to do and support that. I said, I'm not supporting anything. She's not giving me what I need. I pay for her to go to school. She was like, no. Find something that she loves and support it. And then explain to her that this goes away if this doesn't get right. And it was hard for me for a second because I didn't come from that. I came from, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, we're not supporting nothing. You're going to be in your room. You know, you're lucky if you get light. There's sunlight, and if you're lucky if you get light when the sun goes down because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Light is a privilege. My dad would tell me light is a privilege. I go to work and I pay a bill that allows you to have light. So if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, that privilege goes away. Like it was real, you know?
it's a different era as
It's a
well.
different time, man.
We were told to be seen and not heard and don't touch
Literally,
anything in shops and all of that stuff.
literally. So, you know, it's definitely its own matrix. I will say that. It's such a matrix.
Well, it sounds like you're doing an amazing job. And from what I've seen of your little girl online and on your socials, she is just so cute, man.
Thank
She's
you.
so full of like love and she's always doing like the cutest things and laughing, and she just seems like the sweetest kid. So you must be doing a lot right.
Thank you. Thank you. It's comments or compliments like that kind of calm me down internally, because I'll tell myself 10 times a day, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You got to figure this out. You got to do this better. And, because we're our own worst critics.
Yeah, we are, definitely. And we're always hard on ourselves. And like you said before about when you have to go away, the mum guilt, the anxiety, even going to the airport, organizing everything before you go. And then you're like stressed the whole time thinking about it.
And my daughter,
it's a lot.
As soon as she sees that suitcase come down and open on the floor, she's like, oh, you're going away. And I was like,
and then the attitude changes.
Always.
And mine is very upset. Like, he'll hold it in, but then maybe 3 or 4 days after I return, he'll just have a massive meltdown. And he's not that child at all. He'll just like lose his shit over something else. I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
But I also get it for my dog. If she sees the suitcase, she's like,
yeah,
what's going on?
My dog is serious. My dog,
you're going away.
Will
I don't like it.
Hey.
So we've finished all the main questions now, but as you know, when we do Mums at Rave, the real party, we have quick fire questions.
Ooh-wee. Okay.
Do you remember?
I do.
So some of them might be the same, but just roll with it, and whatever you like comes first in your mind, just answer. So the first one is flowers or fragrance?
From who?
I don't know. That's in your own mind.
Flowers or fragrance? Ooh. So I'm very particular about scents, right? So I will go with flowers. I love all gifts, so I don't want to seem like I'm not receptive.
Me too. The more the merrier.
Exactly. And I love gifts with thought, right? Because I even if you made me something, like I would just adore it. But I'll go with flowers, girl.
Okay. I mean, that is lovely, but I prefer fragrance myself. But yeah, it's a hard one. It's definitely a hard one. So the next question is lunch with Little Kim or hit the club with Meg the Stallion?
Meg gonna have it lit. Ooh, but Kim's gonna have a lot of. So I'm gonna have a lot of questions.
Juice, all the tea.
I'm gonna have a lot of questions for Kim, and she was like prime time during when I was prime time. Not that I'm not prime time now. I'm gonna have to do lunch with Little Kim.
Okay. Well, I think 98% of all the moms I've had on have said that.
Yeah.
I think.
And
I would also like to hit the club with Meg, though.
I would. I'd drive the boat, all that good stuff.
That'll be fun.
I have so many questions for Kim about Big. That would be my.
Yeah. That's very true. Okay, next question. Mini, midi, or maxi?
Are these dresses or ox?
Yeah, like skirts, dress, fashion, darling, fashion.
Sorry, you said midi. I said, mini, mid, or maxi?
Like, do you like a maxi dress, like a gown type thing, or like in the summer people wear their nice long dresses? That's not for me, but some people look amazing in them.
I actually mid. What's the depending on where I'm going, right? So if there's someone of interest there, I might do, and the color, right? Color is important for me. But if there's someone of interest there, I might do this is a really tough question. Like, I'm looking at all of these.
I did not realize it was this tough. Everyone else has been like mini skirt.
Like each one of those represents like a different type of mood.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Yeah.
So I actually like things that are very high collar and form fitting. So I'll go mini, And then since I'm giving you leg, I'm gonna make sure like everything up top is covered, so
It's
that way
covered.
stay with a little bit of imagination. Like you'll get leg
Very chic.
to figure out what else is going on.
Very chic. Tiger or leopard?
Tiger or leopard?
As in print.
Print, yeah.
Not the animal.
I'll go leopard.
Okay, it's a good classic. I think leopard print is a neutral.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a neutral. It can go with everything.
Okay.
Vogue or on Vogue?
Definitely Vogue.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, we did one of our no commissions, and in Miami, one of the parties was a ball. So, and I love ballroom. I love.
Nice.
I was watching a live, actually really early this morning, where they were talking about. Oh, man, I can't remember the names, but there's a show, Legendary. Is that?
Yeah.
I guess they had just announced the winner. And I was watching a live where one of the houses were speaking. Two people from one house were speaking, and they were just talking about how they started in one category and went to another. And it was just, yeah, I love the Vogue scene.
Did you love Pose as well?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Pose was a good, and the music. I did a Pose mix actually because I was so inspired by the show. I forgot that's how I met you, is at No Commission.
Correct, in London with Damon. Yep.
Yeah, I was helping to promote it with Damon and my brother, and it was fun times.
Yeah, we gotta do another one. It's outside is getting ready to open back up, so Swizz are ready. His wheels are turning.
So good, because that's the background that I come from, is fine art.
Okay.
So I was DJing and putting on parties at art college and painting, but then DJing as well. So everything I do is about design and art and creativity. So No Commission, I was just like, this is awesome. Because when I came out of art school, to have someone that would even know who you were or represent your work like that would have been the biggest thing ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's such, if people don't know about that, they should definitely check it out, because it's
please.
really amazing.
Our Dean Collection page on IG, we're going to start putting up some new events and whatnot, but nonetheless, you can check out all of our old events, the different artists we support, and
it's a big look.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one, block heel or stiletto?
Definitely block heel. Stiletto and me.
What about stiletto and you and Hennessy? How would that go?
Listen, what's that song?
All bad.
Who knows?
Stiletto and you and Hennessy and dancehall. How would that go?
Listen, stiletto and me and a long distance to walk. Forget the added variable of alcohol.
Okay, block heel all the way. I mean, now I'm getting older. I'm like, just a block heel, please. Not too high.
Right.
Just something that looks cute with a jean.
I mean, look, if it's stiletto to car to event, if it's very short distances, you could get that that little jolt of energy. Like, I can make it to the table. I can make it.
But I used to DJ in these things all night. What the heck?
No.
Zane or SWV?
SWV.
Okay. Dancehall queen or disco scene?
Dancehall queen.
Through and through. I knew the answer to that. Squats, salad, or sex?
Sex, always.
Every single mom. That's the quickest anyone's ever answered the question.
I was like, okay, where we're headed? Squats.
Just, getting your exercise in. Baggy or bodycon?
Say that again?
Baggy? Like baggy or bodycon? Like a joggers and a sweatshirt, or a little, I don't know, but I don't really do bodycon. I don't like bodycon, but
baggy. And I'll tell you a story. It's not even because, baggy obviously more comfortable, but I dated a man one time who he practiced, he was Muslim, and he was very strict about what was visible when we were outside. So it was that bodycon wasn't even an option. And I think from that relationship, I just kept it comfortable.
Okay, so next one, red lip or smoky eye?
Red lip.
You said that already.
Red lip.
Yeah, you love a red lip.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't go wrong with a red lip, can you?
Ever.
I use it as a to mask a multitude of other things that I don't bother with.
It's like you're focused here, you're not paying attention to all the other
red
stuff.
Lip. You always look really put together, I think, if you put a red lip on.
100%.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good smoke and mirrors moment. Classic R&B jams or hip hop and you don't stop?
Classic R&B jams.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Okay, Moschino or Chanel?
Chanel.
Classic vibes. You know, me and Damon are just Moschino through and through. We love it.
Yeah.
Face beat or natural chic?
Natural chic.
Well, yeah, apart from your red lip, right?
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Heels or trainers?
Trainer.
Sorry, sneakers, I should say, shouldn't I? Two-step or dirty wine?
Dirty wine.
Kitchen disco or rave till the cops come?
Rave till the cops come.
Yes. So many moms have said kitchen disco and I'm always like, okay, let's see.
It's not a party till the cops come.
I agree wholeheartedly, and it's happened many times when I've been doing parties. The police will come and it makes my whole entire night, I can't lie. Netflix and chill or sleep and vitamin pill?
Wait, break down the second one, just so I'm not.
So Netflix and chill, we know what that is.
Yeah.
Or get your sleep and a vitamin pill. Nice night's sleep.
Nope, Netflix and chill.
You are a soldier because you already told me you don't get too much sleep. So respect for that. And that wraps up the end of our Rave and Chat.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
It's been amazing having you on, and I'm so passionate about showing amazing mums doing amazing things all over the world, and you are definitely that. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
It was fabulous having you on our real life panel at Moms at Rave, and it's been really fabulous having you on here.
Thank you, and congrats to you and the team and what you guys do for moms that rave. I think sometimes people have this thing that when you become a mom, like life stops and you can't be fun and do all the cool stuff. But no, it's not like
it's not like that.
Next chapter. Now you party with a +1 forever, right? So,
right, and that is exactly what we're about on Moms at Rave, and I'm absolutely determined to show another side of mum life, and that we don't have to adhere to stereotypes. We can still have fun, we can live our best lives, but now we have like little humans as well.
we have a few more bosses to check in with, right? Like when
the real boss.
Let me see your outfit. Who are you going with? What are you doing? She'll take my car keys. I think I posted a video one time where she took my car keys. She was like, "You're not going out. With who? Tell me who you're going out with." Yeah, she's straight.
Wow.
Like, I don't know.
It's almost like role reversal.
Literally.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a lovely weekend, the rest of your day. I know it's only early in New York, so thanks for joining me.
Anytime.
Don't work too hard.
I won't. And I'll see you very soon when I come back across the pond.
Definitely.
Right.
And I'm going to post this video on Instagram now, and then it will also be up on our YouTube channel and our website. Okay. So
I'll share
people can watch it back.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mo.
Alrighty, talk.
Lots of love. Take care. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you.
Bye everyone. Love you.
Bye.